Today is another fantastic edition of your favorite one-on-one personality interview show, Hall of Fame, right here on Citi TV. My name is AJ Sarpong, and it's an absolute pleasure to bring you another edition of Hall of Fame, where I get to sit down with one of your favorite personalities, have a conversation, try and get to know a different side of them, and as well have some laughs, probably put them a bit on the hot seat maybe, and then overall show you a different side of your favorite personality. Today my personality on the show is a pioneer of a whole new era, and I'm going to be having a conversation with him right here on the show. We're live from the Apartmento Hotel here in Airport Residential, and when I come back we'll be getting to know the personality or the person in the hot seat today. You're tuned in to Hall of Fame right here on Citi TV. You're tuned in to Hall of Fame right here on Citi TV. We're live from the Apartmento Hotel in Airport Residential area. And a special thanks for my lovely outfit. It is by Unique Trends, that's the top, and then fabric by Kimini Fabric. Thank you so much for making me look amazing. And of course, hair by First Choice. It takes a village, guys. It takes a village. But it's not about me, it's about the personality that I'm going to be speaking to today on the show. He is a pioneer of modern day blogging, I think, honestly. He is the one that started the trend of going specifically into celebrity blogging. He has made a name for himself and expanded from doing his own website to creating a media empire. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest today is none other than Ameyaw Debrah, aka AmeyawDebrah.com. Hi, Ameyaw.
Hey,
it's nice to have you here.
Pleasure.
I've been looking forward to this interview for a while, and I think I want to start all the way from the beginning. So, is blogging, writing, or being in the online space something that you always plan to do?
No, not always.
Okay.
But I think when I was in the university studying publishing, around that time, that was when internet actually took off. And so I found myself always online. And in my year, the department decided to introduce e-publishing for a semester, I think. And that sort of piqued my interest because apart from that, everything else was the usual book publishing, and it was a little bit stiff. So my interest was piqued around that time. And then after the university, I won an award to as the best publishing student. It was sponsored by Ovation magazine. So I had the opportunity to do my national service as part of that at Ovation magazine. So I took that up, and so after school I went to Ovation, did national service there, and then stayed after for some few more months. And then around that period, that's when I got introduced, or I rather went searching for opportunities to write for online publications, as I was about to leave Ovation in totality. So that was where it actually started. I remember inboxing people. Most of them were platforms that were in the US. They were Pan-African. They were doing some sort of entertainment, and they were doing it from the eye of being out there. So they weren't always getting information fast. And I was like, you know what, I'm here, so why don't I be like a correspondent for you? And in the beginning, it wasn't a matter of money because they were not paying. But then it was a good step. And one thing led to the other, and I also found an opportunity. I got the opportunity to join Voices of Africa project, which has now transformed to become what most people know as africanews.com, and they also have the television station as well. That's the first paid gig I had online because we were given, every month they were expecting us to do at least 8 features. And then I think we were getting $200 at the end of the month.
Really? Okay, big money then.
Yeah, back then, and I needed it. It was like at least something that I could fall on. So I started with them, and then also while I was doing that, because I had done Ovation, I had contact with industry people, and so I was still being invited to the entertainment stuff. So I was still doing a lot of the art and entertainment while I was doing more of the serious stuff for them. And then along the line, through this project again, I had the opportunity to go and speak at the Highway Africa conference in South Africa at the Rhodes University.
Wow.
So basically, we are going to share our experience of the technology we were using back then. So around that time, they had guests from all over the world and Africa in general, and people were talking about how they were using the digital space, and that's when blogging now became an option for me, because even though I had started a blog spot on a small note, I realized that people were taking it very seriously, and so when I came back, I decided to take my own very seriously. And around that same time too, Ghana Web had been seeing the work I'd been doing with the Voices of Africa people, and wanted me to come and now be a content editor for them. So they also got me. So I was doing Ghana Web alongside my blog, and then eventually the domain itself, which is actually 10 years now. I registered the Ameyaw Debrah, as people know it now. And the rest has been like history, they say.
Let's take it further back. Describe how your childhood was. Where was the spirit of writing installed in you? Why or how did people react to you deciding that I wanted to do publishing or go in that, and instead of being what is the usual profession of maybe doctor, engineering, whatever it is, how was that support system like?
For me, growing was very fun. I think I belonged to a family where my dad and parents, my mother were very open-minded, and so they always gave us the best they could afford. And so, growing up, they saw some traits of an artist in there, and so they would buy crayons, pencils, and everything to enhance that. And then along the line, they would realize that I was always destroying things, trying to dissect and fix it up again. So they were like, he's going to be an engineer. And then, so I went through all that phases that I believe most people go through. But again, everybody thought, well, I was quite a brilliant student. They all assumed I was going to be a doctor. And so again, when I went to the secondary school, I was studying general science. I did biology, chemistry, physics, and then maths. While I was in Adisado, I also joined the Writers and Debaters Club. And so I became the editor for the school's magazine around that period. So I think that was where, also because even though I was a science student, I was winning awards for the arts in general. I was winning awards for the art, like social. I was doing well with social studies, English. I won an award for English as well, and so they couldn't really put me at one place. So they got me to show interest in the Writers and Debaters Club, and eventually I became an editor for the school's magazine as well around that period. So I guess all of that shaped the direction I later went to. But when I went to the tech, so I think fortunately for me, the year I completed, that was when the government made it an option of you could go to school immediately and you didn't have to wait. So basically, I was going to do try and error, because instead of sitting home, I'm like, let me just take my chance and apply. If I get it, fine. If not, I go next year, which is actually my time. At that time, I left. I could have gone to Legon, but I think my brother was in Legon, so I comfortably told him to be the one to get the forms and everything for me, and he didn't take it serious. So the time passed. And so the only option I had was tech. So when I got the forms from tech, the prospectus, is it what do you call it? I went through the programs, and then I saw publishing studies, and I was like, why don't I give this a try? And then I applied, and back then the idea was, my father was still alive, so the idea was, whatever the case, I go through it, and then maybe when we are done, we can set up a publishing business together. So I took publishing. And we did it for 4 years, and we did well enough to win an award, and which sort of set me up to what I'm doing now. So it's been smooth in terms of how people have received it. The family, like I said, going to the university, their plan was that when I'm done, I would work with my father, so we set up a publishing. But unfortunately, right after university, my dad passed.
Oh no.
He passed like a week before I did national service. I entered into national service, so things had to change. Now I had to now look for other plans, and so I started working, and then eventually this became an option.
Okay, that's very interesting to know. Now, describe the Ghana web era, where you were there, you were content editor, and the progression into starting your own.
Cool.
Weren't you afraid of setting out on your own?
No. Well, so it's interesting because I think recently, as part of my celebration of the 10 years of the website, I did an article to explain. So even when I started Ghana Web, I still had my blog, but it wasn't ameyaw.com. So I was blogging along the way, and when I joined Ghana Web, my job description was to handle a lot of things apart from just the entertainment news. So for instance, the backlog, the catalog of which says artists in Ghana, I had to fill with biographies of these artists. I had to create that catalog of nightclubs in Ghana, all of those. So it was content in general, whereas we still focus on entertainment news, etc. So around that time, GhanaCelebrities.com, the founder, I think he had also launched his and was looking for content. So he reached out to me. Initially, he pretended to be a woman and was like sweet talking me. And then I started a conversation. Eventually, I didn't continue. So then
wait,
later,
so he pretended to be a woman to have a conversation with you,
thinking
to start
it would be easier to have a conversation. And so when that conversation had some sort of a dead end, then he came himself and he introduced himself as this, and then even now we had a way to connect because he was also from Adisado, so that now became the common grounds to have conversations. So I started contributing to him as well, and then eventually he said, "Oh, Ameyaw, why don't you have your own website?" And then like joke around, I think Paris Hilton was like a cool thing, sounded like someone's name, and so having a website in the name sounded cool. So we were like, let's do Ameyaw.com. So we launched that, and along the side, I was still doing Ghana Web. So I did Ghana Web for some time, until a time which I believe was the first time the owner of Ghana Web was coming to Ghana. And then essentially when he came to Ghana, then that's when he realized how powerful I'd become. Because when he listens to radio, he would hear events saying that media partners, Ameyawdebrah.com, and then he got a bit worried. It was like he would have rather it was GhanaWeb.com, all of that, and so he started now bringing up the issue of conflict of interest. And so back and forth we discussed it. At a point he wanted to buy me out, and then it becomes GhanaWeb.AmeyawDebrah or AmeyawDebrah.com, Ameyaw.GhanaWeb, something like that. Buy me, swallow me in there, increase my pay. So all of those things came up. And at the point where I was about to leave, it was a difficult decision, because here's a case: you are building a brand that resonates with people. It was popular, but it wasn't really making
money,
revenue for you that much that you could fall on thoroughly. And this is somebody who is paying you a salary. At least you are comfortable. What do? Do you have faith in what you're doing and go and pursue it? But eventually I took that tough decision, which I think became a blessing, because now I could concentrate fully on what I was doing. I now really also re-strategized and changed the way I was running it. It was no longer a hobby, it was now becoming a business. And so all of that informed what it had grown to become now.
Talking about some of the notable interviews over the last 10 years, which ones were your favorite? Okay, one of my absolute favorites would be one I had with a Nigerian. I've forgotten his name. He's one of those African
people. I've forgotten his name. This is sad. So I mean, I like that interview because of the depth of the knowledge. You ask him something simple, and then he's philosophizing on all kinds of levels, and I liked it for that. Around that time, I was also publishing on jamati.com, which is one of the Pan-African websites. So I think I did that interview primarily for them, and I totally enjoyed the knowledge he shared. On a very more personal level, I enjoyed interviewing Amber Rose because at that time, apart from her being hot, she had come to Ghana and she had taken pictures like they always do with the poor kid, and so he was having a lot of global bashing for that picture.
Yes.
And then I had the opportunity to meet her, and so rather than it be anything else, I gave her the opportunity to explain why she did that. And that video was featured on BET, on all the popular American blogs, and so it made me feel like
some validation.
Yeah. My work has traveled that far, and everybody has taken this video that I did of her. So that's one of the other highlights I would mention. But there have been a lot of amazing opportunities, interviews that have come in the course of the job.
What have been some of your worst interviews? Everyone has a bad day.
So worst interviews, you know, a great interview depends on the person you're interviewing, because you can have all the brilliant questions, and the person's demeanor and how much the person wants to give will determine how good an interview it is in total. And so people have not enjoyed interviewing include Jackie Appiah. And I remember when one of the interviews came out on BBC Pidgin, I go to her and I said, "This is my favorite interview of you, because you're very boring when we are interviewing." I was like, "Oh, Ameyaw, and you have never told me this." I'm like, "Well, it's true, because you never
give out enough.
But then that interview, it was like she was comfortable, and I think maybe the way they presented it, because it was Pidgin or whatever, but it was really good. So Jackie probably has given me some of my worst interviews, and yes, if I should remember.
Describe the progression, or when you decided, you know what, even though I've conquered the online space, I want to progress into digital TV or online TV, and then also try and own that space. How easy was it to make that decision, especially since it probably cost quite a lot to start it up? Describe that process for me.
So along the years, I mean, after I left Ghana, where I was on my own, and then at some point, Ringier Ghana contacted me. They wanted me to come, and they were going to launch a new product, so they wanted me to come and head that. So I joined them to launch Pulse.
Yes.
And so around when I was at Pulse, I realized that video was part of their strategy. They started doing some things, and then before I left, one of the programs that we launched, which was the Think You're Smart, started picking up. So I realized that video was quite cool. And then after 6 months there, I also left to now go and start another one, which is yen.com.gh. And so when we were doing that, I also realized that they also had, the parent company had grounds in Nigeria and Kenya, and they were also progressing to the point where video was becoming part of their strategy. So based on data and everything, and learning from what was going on, I realized that indeed video, and looking at the strategy of Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, video was quite vital in all of their strategies. So when I left Yen finally and went back to doing just me, I was like, maybe I should introduce something to handle that video aspect of it. And so the idea of Ameyaw TV came one time, and then I was like, I put it out there, if you're interested, record yourself doing a presentation. I put all of them out, gauge what the public, so everything had involved the public from the get-go. From the logos, I made them decide which one you want. So I get that sort of, I could gauge what the people were leaning towards. So eventually I did auditions, I selected. The idea was to select just two, but I saw all of these people, and everybody had a different strength, something I thought they were strong for. So I ended up picking 6 of them. And I started buying equipment, camera, setting up the studio. And like you're saying, it became, it is an investment. Notes, I started after putting together my wedding, which cost quite a bit as well. So like in the period there's been all cost, and so it gets worrying. Just this recently, we went to cover Miss Bell's launch of and then when we put it out, she called, Ameyaw, oh my God, I didn't expect this. I thought you were doing what everybody was doing, just some. And I'm an editor myself, so I know what you guys went through to put this together. You know what, let me send your editor some money, even if you don't want any money. Let me get, and I was like, yes, at least she's getting it. We're not trying to be what everybody is. Our vision is clear. We may not make money now, but I'm hoping that people would understand where we are going and tap into it, and so that we make that money.
All right, well, I like that. Well, when we come back, we'll be talking some more with Ameyaw Debrah, talking on the progression over the last 10 years, some of the scandals in there, and then everything else you may want to know about Ameyaw Debrah, one of the pioneers, or the pioneer of modern day blogging right here in Ghana. You're tuned in to Hall of Fame. Even more is coming up right after this.
Tune in to The Point of View, Mondays and Wednesdays at 9 p.m. as Bernard Avlet takes the news further. He will bring the right guests, ask them the relevant questions, and get you the real insights you need on the big stories for the day.
Now, when the minister is saying they didn't do a pressure test, question is, why didn't they do a pressure test? Because you have 2 geological bodies and you want to know whether it is the same oil so that you can understand how you will sweep it and how you can develop it. So they have to do the tests. From all the maps, all the geologists and everybody we talk to says it's 2 different geological, and as such it is a new discovery.
The Point of View with Bernard Avlet, Monday and Wednesday nights, only on Citi TV. Point of View is brought to you in association with Stanbic Bank. Moving forward. Credible, timely, and authoritative. Citi TV offers the best news and current affairs programming every weekday on Mondays and Wednesdays.
Probing and informative, direct and instructive. Join me, Bernard Avlet, this and every Monday and Wednesday at 9 p.m. on The Point of View on Citi TV.
Every weekday from 8 p.m.
Get up to date
with the leading news stories of the day.
Your comprehensive news coverage from across the country.
Citi Newsroom is your trusted daily news package.
Every weekday, 8 p.m. on Citi TV.
Make a date every Tuesday evening.
The politicians and key personalities speak to me, Godfred Akoto-Boafo, on Face to Face every Tuesday at 9 p.m.
Keep updated throughout the day on 2020 News.
For regular news checks as they unfold.
Politics, sports, entertainment,
business, and much more.
2020 News. We bring you the news in 20 minutes.
Every weekday evening.
Stay updated on the key business issues of the day with me, Bobio Say, on the Business Dashboard every weekday at 7 p.m.
Friday evenings.
My name is Caleb Kuda. I host a show that turns the news on its head. Join me this and every Friday on Backpage at 6:30 p.m.
Comprehensive and trusted news and current affairs programming. This is Citi TV.
You're tuning in to Hall of Fame right here on Citi TV. My name is AJ Sarpong. Special thanks to Unique Trends for my lovely top and Kamini Fabrics for my fabric. And of course, First Choice for my hair. But I'm sitting here having a conversation with Ameyaw Debrah, celebrity blogger who sort of started off the whole celebrity blogging scene here in Ghana. One of the pioneers of the entire industry. Now, coming to the website in itself and the contents that you generated, quite a few people have had issues with it over the course of the last 10 years. Do you feel that sometimes, or on certain occasions, maybe the headlines may be misleading?
I'm capturing the story in such a way that you'll be attracted to go and read. So far as it is not false, and so far as the content in itself is not false, and even if it's sensational, just for you to go and click and get the full picture, I think there is nothing wrong with it. That has been because the message in itself is what it is. If you said somebody's an idiot, I'm quoting you as saying somebody's an idiot, and that's what the story is going to be about.
But if I say, well, I don't think this person is very smart, and then you write, AJ says he's an idiot, is that not misleading in its part?
It's not misleading. So it could be my interpretation of what AJ has said, which if what AJ said in itself, if she left it open for you to decide whether it's this or this, then I am allowed to also take that opinion.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, the reader will still get to know exactly what AJ said.
Okay.
And then should also decide on his or her own what is AJ saying.
Okay.
I'm not going to say in my headline AJ says this, and so I will alter everything else to suit that.
Okay.
So, I mean, my challenge now is that, and I fight back. It's not like
I see that, yes.
I fight back and then I give up.
Okay.
So my thing is, read. If you read and you don't like what you see on the website, come and complain. I would take that in better faith than you just following what everybody else is saying on. To be honest, Ameyaw.com is the best we have in terms of for entertainment and all of it. For entertainment, it's the best we have actually. When I go around and see the things that people write and how they write it, so anytime I get this backlash from people who know what my vision is, and they take single events and blow it out of proportion to represent what the brand really is, I feel it offends me, and that's why sometimes I come back to fight people, because the vision I have, it's not what everybody else has, and even the way they are doing it, and it doesn't take a magician to figure it out. All you have to do is even go to the website, and on the homepage, you see the diversity of content and the way we want to go.
Did you think you evolved enough?
Yes, I think I did. For instance, Instagram has become a big thing, and you realize people are getting a lot of numbers doing all of those. But then it's in that thing that my Ameyaw TV is supposed to tackle. So I wouldn't be doing what everybody is doing, but I'm doing what I would have done on AmeyawDebrah.com in a different way. So maybe if it's the news, I'm having people present it in a fun way in video. So I put it back on this platform that is evolving, and people are now perhaps going for that instead of going to read. So I try to evolve with the times and be there. And you realize that the things that people do and give them a number on Instagram, I'm not doing that. Especially my Instagram page is quite different from what everybody else is doing, because I don't want it to have that kind of voice. A little of it might be on the Ameyaw TV page, but you won't find that kind of voice on my voice. So it's wanting to lead in my own way and also still be a force with all the trends that is going. And so I got younger people to be presenting, new faces, so that people will fall in love with these people as well. Okay. So that has been the strategy.
Now, onto some of your very public, I would say, spats with certain celebrities. Okay, why do you think they have an issue with you so much?
I don't know, and they, I think they go ahead to explain why they have an issue with me. I think in particularly they are forcing. She did at a point write something to that regard, saying that it's because she's closer to me, and so she wants to always be on my case when blah blah blah. But then there are so many people who are not even close to me as they are. But then if they have an issue, they will probably just come to me on the quiet, and then we take it, we deal with it. But the reason why I fight her and also sometimes do it publicly is because I feel that sometimes being that commando, Yasantua, gets into her head, and so that public fighting spirit and people who hail her, she enjoys it. And I don't think if you're a true friend, you would put your friend through that.
But as a true friend, would you want to put out certain stories that she alludes to be negative out there?
And then she had to explain to me what is negative about these stories.
Okay.
One was, for instance, the first one I remember was me putting a picture of her and Becca, because I think Becca had just given birth, so she was showing her bum.
Right.
And then that same day, she also has one that is trending.
Yes.
On Instagram. And so I put this together to say...
Isn't that body shaming?
Not at all. Not from my... Because it wasn't even about the body. It was about the pose. I was like... So like it was like the cool, new... Everybody was doing it. She was in the chair, like relaxed like this. And then the same pose as Becca. So I was like, okay, I'm about to give birth pose.
But she wasn't pregnant.
No, but I'm talking about the pose.
But do you see how that could cause a fat shaming, body shaming way?
But
because
that's
as
not,
a plus size person,
that's not the direction I was taking it. So, and I think that direction started when some people were making those comments.
Right.
But that was not my intention. Okay. And look, if I write about Jesus, people can have opinions, but that's not depending on what they see. And then you don't go back to the author to attack him.
Okay, but if I considered you my friend and then I felt that you were body shaming me,
exactly,
do I not have the right to be able to call you out on it?
No, you don't have to call me. You tell me, like, oh, this is what I think, this thing is not necessary, and I'll take it off.
Okay.
But there's no two ways about that. I will take it off because now you feel like I've done that. And then, like I said, the way she knows me shouldn't even make her think that I'll go and publicly body shame her. Because I've always given her praise for owning everything. I write about that and all of that. So why, if you know me that well, why would you think I'll now go and body shame you?
Okay.
So what happened? So I think I woke up on that particular one, and I think Debrah had started it, and then what I did was, I removed it, and then I went to her WhatsApp, and I went to tell her, oh, well, if you're offended, that wasn't the direction, so I'm very sorry. She didn't even say anything. Okay. And then even after deleting it, these people are still talking, and then you come back to now also join them. Is
there situations where sometimes you take certain tweets, maybe innocently tweeted, and take it out of context? Maybe I say, ooh, I really need a man. Then the headline is, AJ Sarpong is lonely.
No, it wouldn't be like that. No, I don't do that. People do that, but we don't do that.
So where did the issues with John DeMello come from? I see, okay, maybe it's us just looking in from the outside in, because two of you tend to post interesting headlines based on things that you say.
Yeah. So I think what started with that was John was making a mockery of the last thing that happened around Lydia, where she was like, oh, that's why, I mean, if you say this, he has his own way of representing it. So it became some sort of a joke that the two of us have. And then, so yes, for me and John, there's no issue at all. It's just more of just us
so
having
teasing,
fun, having fun over there. So yes, for John, I think again, somebody like John, somebody like Jocelyn will not go publicly to go and fight me for something I've written. Most likely they would
reach out to you.
They reach out to you and say, oh, this, that. A lot of people do it. Even those that don't even know at all, that I wouldn't consider are close, they would do that. So again, that's why sometimes I feel some people just get excited about the glory that comes with being a commando in public. And so
so you feel hurt that Lydia didn't reach out to you?
Well, exactly. Exactly. And then not just that, created some sort of a movement. I call them Yanum, to come and fight. A fight that shouldn't even be there. Do you feel bullied on social media sometimes? I don't, because of how the kind of person I am. I say it and go. I don't, and I hate people who bully, and I hate people who give the chance to people to bully. If you're somebody who even monitors me, sometimes I do an article and people go and they comment, and then if I have the time, I will correct everybody to say, oh, what do you mean? Yeah, I will do that if I have the time. But then my mentions are in thousands each day, so I can't always answer everybody. So I'm somebody who is totally against bullying. I can, but and what I like is people who sensibly and come to you, try to explain to you, you said this, we think that, instead of those who come and they immediately fight you, bully you, insult you. When that happens, I rebel. I just mute it. You can insult me, I won't say it, because Twitter allows you to mute. And I leave you to go ahead. You are mad. I'm move on to the next day. And I mean, you have to be tough. You have to know how to handle social media. And I think I've been across social media for long enough to not let such things get to me. Okay, all right, I can agree with that. Now we're going to go on a quick break again. When we come back, even more goodness with Ameyaw Debrah. He's in the hot seat today, clarifying all the rumors, clarifying everything that may be. So yes, joining the conversation, the hashtag is Hall of Fame. We'll be right back right after this.
Hello, welcome to What the Papers Are Saying. My name is Vivian Kai Loco.
For the highlights of the top stories from the newspapers and the in-depth discussions of the news, What the Papers Are Saying, your weekly newsstand show, which sums up the big stories from reliable newspapers and news websites.
The buck stops with the IGP, not the CID boss. But operationally, there's a regional commander. Nobody is mentioning the regional commander. On day-to-day basis, who is in charge? I'm not so sure if it is the CID boss. But you see, the moment we start pushing, we trivialize the whole thing.
Join Vivian Kai Loco and her panel to review the headlines, break down the stories, and analyze the issues. What the Papers Are Saying is this and every Thursday at 9 p.m. on Citi TV.
The story of love, greed, revenge, and betrayal continues on the award-winning telenovela Brazil Avenue. Carmenia now knows Rita's identity. Rita, a woman driven by revenge, has finally gotten Carmenia where she wants her. It's still a story of twists, turns, suspense, and thrills in Brazil Avenue.
It's just full of dust, see? That table is just like you, isn't it? You know how to hide your dirty parts. Go on, clean it well now. Scrub harder, girl, come on. That's it, like that, with power. That's it, it's good, it's good. Put the table back in place.
Brazil Avenue airs Wednesdays to Fridays at 10 p.m. Brazil Avenue's Omnibus airs on Sundays at 12:30 p.m. Only on Citi TV.
You're tuned in to Hall of Fame right here on Citi TV with yours truly, AJ Sarpong. My guest is Ameyaw Debrah, and we're going back into the conversation. Yay. And a lot of people said that you had an issue with Shatawale. For the longest time, you weren't writing anything about him. What was that about?
Well, I still am not technically writing about him.
Why?
Well, so some few Christmas ago, about 6 or 5 years ago, while I was waiting to enjoy my chicken, I have a call from Shatawale, and he said, so the basic thing was that he wasn't happy with an article that I had written or published. It was an article from Ghana Web. Basically, it was I think it was a concert. Okay. And what happened was, I think that was the time where the heat was on Samini, Shatawale, and I think there was a reggae concert. And so Shatawale had gone to perform, and after performing for so many hours, he was refusing to leave for Samini to come on. So that's the story, what it's about. So I did that story, and then his manager calls, and then basically they're saying they've realized that I am on Samini's side. And so everybody has been asking, well, why is it that I'm like, no, I'm not on anybody's side. This story, unless you're saying it's not true, but this is the story that was filed by Ghana Web. That's what's the sentiment that was carried through on social media. That's what everybody was saying. And so I don't mean to, I don't work with anybody. Nobody pays me. You don't pay me. Samini doesn't pay me. So that's it. And then he keeps arguing. And to the bottom line, he ends the call by saying, if you value your life, don't write about me.
Wow.
Yeah, so I also value my life, and I haven't written about him unless it's a promotion that has been paid for, and so he's part of whatever the event is, and so I'm writing about him. And maybe more recently, when we did Ameyaw TV, they tend to talk about him because that brand is quite different from my website and all of that. So technically still I have blacklisted him. I don't write about him. So if something happens and you don't, then his fans, I don't know if they have a WhatsApp group that they send them, hey, go and attack, and they all go. But I'm getting the feeling that that's what it is, because if something happens and I don't, so now they attack me more for not writing about him than I'm writing about him. So, but yeah, they have the perception that I hate him, and so I don't write. But that's the genesis of it all.
Is there any other artist, person, celebrity you have blacklisted as well?
I think I would say probably I've put Lydia Forson in that category as well. I think there was a time where even I responded to a tweet and said, you know, I will not let them, I'll tell them not to write about you again. And I communicated it to the people that, hey, I've had enough of this back and forth, and so don't write about it anymore. So yeah, so for now I'd say the other two. But there are some other people that I've cautioned that don't focus too much on them because they are not newsworthy. Like? Maybe Polo, a lot of the things that happen on social media, a lot of those things, I don't want them. Like I said, I take my website quite serious. People might not see that, but I do. Maybe we can put them on social media, fine, but on the website, if they don't have anything substantial, nothing very important is happening around them, or if they've not done something really worth mentioning, don't serialize it and be talking about them all the time. So yeah.
Do you think bloggers play a role in creating celebrities without substance?
Well, not
people
just
that get the hype, viral stuff.
Viral stuff. Well, I think not just the bloggers, but social media in itself. That's what it has become, and especially Instagram. Instagram in such a way that you can amass a lot of following just by just showing boob, your back, your car, your body, your six-pack. I'm jealous of that. and all of that, because that's the culture around it. And so it's not just the bloggers. They may highlight some of it, but there's some of these who have more following and engagement than we, the bloggers ourselves. So it's just that culture, the space we find ourselves. And so, yeah, but yes, we do accentuate all of these with our various platforms. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Does blogging pay?
It pays and then doesn't pay. It pays. It's a space that should pay, but in our space in Ghana, it's not as much as it should be. Again, because the ecosystem does not support us, there isn't enough digital advertising going on. I think it comes down to the fact that businesses will not just put enough budget. I think social media blogging is like the last thing they consider when they are strategizing and drawing up their budgets. And elsewhere, it's rather the other way
around.
And my hope is that we will get there soon, because for it, I feel that a lot of this sensational thing that bloggers are doing is because of that, because they do all the sensational things to get the numbers and then they make some money off of it. Like I said, if that was the case, I would have been broke. But I want to do the quality stuff, get people, businesses to come and bring money. I mean, if businesses support and bring adverts, a lot of it will cut down. Even businesses can now say, look, remove this, or I'll take out my adverts, and people will listen. Publishers will listen.
What is the most expensive purchase you have made as with your blogging cash?
Well, I'm the kind of person, when I see something like, if it's cheap, I'll buy it. If it's expensive, I'll buy. I don't know what to say, but I'm not somebody who goes for expensive things all the time. But sometimes I see something and I say, I must have it.
What's the most expensive? What is the biggest purchase you've ever done?
That I should consider as a luxury, right?
Yes.
Maybe I think I would say a car, the car.
Okay.
Because typically I don't even drive, and so
really,
yeah, and I have a driver. So if I even have a Mercedes Benz, whatever, I won't enjoy it. Somebody who is driving.
Right.
So I think I would say the car was like at a go the most expensive thing I probably did. But there are some other things, maybe an experience like the Coachella, for instance.
Wait, Coachella, you went on your own?
I went on my own.
Wow.
I went on my own. So I applied for accreditation, and when I had it, actually it was outside my original time I was living in America. So when I got accreditation, now I had to extend my stay. So I had to change my ticket back to Ghana, and now to get a new ticket to California. Now had to pay for hotels, and then
do the whole
do
tour,
the whole
festival,
thing.
yeah.
Okay, so yeah, but sometimes, like I said, it's an experience. You want to, even if it's once in a lifetime, you want to see it, and then at least you can say you have. And so sometimes I pay for such experiences as well.
Okay, now still on money. I hear off one of your recent interviews that Men's Gold was actually an option for you. They came knocking on your doorstep.
Yeah.
Why did you decide not to sign with them?
Well, I think
sorry, Xylophone and...
Yes. I think it's more of what eventually came out, because it was just not sure. I was just not sure of what it was.
Did you suspect that it was a Ponzi scheme, or fueled, or
I think
the money was
around that time, I didn't so much know about the Men's Gold side. I knew that this is the person also, but I didn't know really what Men's Gold was, because they approached me with Xylophone. They said some guy be a bar, and these are things I don't. It moving me, if I can use that word. I say, so there's this person, it doesn't move me at all. So that even put me off. And around that time, I was always busy with the end. So I was like, you know what? I can't come for a meeting. If I'm free, I use that to stall my work. At the end, I used that to stall, and then eventually they found people they wanted for that role, and so I didn't have to go. And then eventually now I started knowing that, oh, okay, so this is what I could have been a part of.
Did you regret it at a point not joining Mentor?
At a point I was like, oh, scary na kaminya biya kanya bado. I mean, it kicked in. It kicked in at some point, but it wasn't anything that was spectacular that I was kicking myself or not, because everybody knows me that I'm very hardworking, and I've done it for so many years. And if I've survived and achieve whatever if I do that the next 10 years, I can do more. So my mindset was very on that. I didn't regret it. I didn't regret it.
Okay.
But it pained me small.
That's you actually, because but in hindsight, looking at their organization and knowing what you know now, do you, because there's a school of thought that assume that it's probably a Ponzi scheme. Others say it's not, it's some kind of organization that is just on bad times right now.
Yes.
Do you think it was a Ponzi scheme?
Well, from the way it was designed to work, yes, I would say it fits that. But then they're also saying they had structured it in such a way that if the government didn't interfere and all of that, everybody would have still been happy. But then everybody would say that's how all these
Ponzi scheme works.
But I mean, I think there's new developments, new angles. So let's wait and see how the non-Ponzi or the Ponzi scheme will play out eventually. I mean, when it all happened, I took it for granted until I started seeing videos of people actually paying. Then I realized that this is
something
people
else.
had really invested in it. So it's good for us all to have opinions, but also for me, the opinion that matters most for me is these voices, these people, and how getting solutions for them.
Okay, that makes sense as well. Now, how has fatherhood changed you?
Well, fatherhood, how has it changed me? Apart from now having bills that I have to pay, I think it's, I've had my way with children. Children like me, I like children ever since. And so it's been, but it's nice to have your own child.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes when the school, when they have an app where every day they give you updates, sometimes they take picture of what he's doing. Anytime I see it, I'm happy. I'm like, I just want to know what's happening until I go and see him or he comes down, and then...
Your family lives in America?
Yeah, at the moment.
Deliberately?
So because, no, she works in the US, and so it's easier for her to be there, at least for now. So it's good for now. It's more she visits, I visit. Well, I have some few more years visa, so at least I also like traveling, and so I usually plan my visits around things I'm going to do, and then so I'm doing family and I'm experiencing new things, and what I want to do more is also try to get businesses from that side. So even when I'm here, I can always have an account there. I can even take care of him through these accounts and stuff like that. So we want to go global, and I think there's an opportunity for me to do that.
That I can agree with. With your family out of town, don't you get tempted?
No,
don't women throw themselves at you?
No, I don't give myself that opportunity because I'm very always indoors. So for instance, my office is in my family home. So during the day, I leave my home, I go to the family home.
So you're constantly in places where people love you. So,
yes, I'm working, I'm with my staff, my mother sees me. After that I close, I go back
home.
Unless I have to go to an event. When I go to an event, I'm free with everybody. After that, I'm just going back home. And yeah, so I think it's just the way I am. So I don't let myself be tempted. And I'm very nice with everybody. And so even if I don't know you, that's it. I won't be rude. I will be cordial. And then that's it. I go.
Now, what is going to happen for the next 5 years with Ameyaw Debrah Media?
Yes. So I want us to evolve. You know, anything that is trendy in terms of the media space, the digital space, we want to be a part of it and be a force with it. I am hoping Ameyaw TV becomes everything I want it to be. We have amazing content planned. I'm hoping I get money to do all of that, or get sponsorship to make it come to fruition. I also want to provide some sort of a digital solutions for people, and so using the know-how we have, even if we're creating adverts online for people, I want to set it up like that, so businesses can come. We handle their digital communications and stuff like that on a small scale to a big scale. We want to also incorporate all of that in the services of Ameyaw Media, and I hope they give us tax, what's the rebate, or because even as I'm struggling, can you imagine? I took on national service people
to
come and work.
Pay that,
I have to pay all them. So it's not, we're not making crazy money, but we are trying to empower people as well. And I believe those who have come to work with me, those who came to do national service with me, they've realized that I am a man of a certain quality. There are some things I want, some things I don't want, and I hope they've been able to learn from all of that. And yes, that's the best you can do.
Based on that, I want to ask, do you think government support or government is supporting the entertainment or media industry, no, not media, entertainment industry enough?
I would say no. Anytime they have tried to do it, it has been on the face of doing things for political gains, and that's as blank as I can be. I think, and then sadly the media players have, those who are involved in the entertainment space have also allowed it because it's convenient for them to have a position somewhere and then eat some money, like we say, and then go. But it should be more than that. We should see real policies. If musicians, for instance, making it a policy that people, once you play a musician's work on your radio, you pay the person. These are the things that America has laid up, the rest of the world has, and it's supporting the people who are in the. This is what you do. You don't pay. You don't make them an ambassador of tourism because they've campaigned for you, and give them something while you are in power. That's not it. If you really want to support the industry, there's a lot more you have to do, and it goes. It starts with the policies, working around policies that would impact on the people who practice all these various forms of art.
I like that. Oh, Ameyaw, thank you so much for coming through. You have truly been. It's been delightful talking to you. You've been real. You have stated your truth and stood by it. So. Thanks for coming through. And thank you for being tuned in. This has been another episode of Hall of Fame. Special thanks to my amazing guest, Ameyaw Debrah, for coming through. And thank you for being tuned in. Special thanks again to our location, Apartamento Hotel, for being so lovely and hosting us today. And finally, special thanks to Kimimi Fabrics for the fabric for my outfit and Unique Trends for my outfit and First Choice for my hair. My name is AJ Sarpong. Find me on social media at AJ Sarpong. And I'll be back your way next week right here on Citi TV.